Hey everyone, it's time to slither out of the crate that they dragged you in on because we're here for a brand new recap of a brand new reality TV show on Fox. That's right. We're here to recap The Snake. And I'm Jenny, joined by my wonderful co-host, Chappell. Chappell, how are you?
Oh, Jenny, I'm pumped. I'm pumped and I'm happy because, first of
You're
all, you and I don't
why?
get the podcast enough. We don't get the
Oh, well,
podcast
that
enough
too.
together.
That too.
Yeah. And then on top
It's
of
been a
that,
minute.
when we started talking about, okay, we're gonna do the snake, I was like, okay, is this
Mhm.
gonna be very strategy focused and like super serious? And are we gonna have to come in here and break down these vote counts and all this other stuff? It's gonna be crazy, and these relationships are gonna be so intertwined. And then this first episode, we just got a cracked cast of people that I am so ready to talk about. So yeah,
Yes.
I am happy that the dice rolled and it landed on me and you to talk about this. It's gonna be so much fun.
Yes. So again, I love any opportunity that the two of us get to talk about a silly new reality show. It seems that we've like fallen into a bit of like a theme, like a wheelhouse of sorts, in that if there is like a brand new reality TV show, somewhat like social strategy themed, that is hosted by comedian, that seems to be we're moths to the flame of that sort of show. And so this is no different, because this is here on Fox. I believe it will be streaming next day on Hulu, and whatever the Hulu equivalent is in your country. We don't have Hulu in Canada.
Mm.
I think maybe it's Disney Plus, I don't know. And it is hosted by Jim Jeffries. And I will say, because the last thing that we recapped together, Chappell, and if you missed it, was it was a one podcast wonder with Mike Bloom, Got to Get Out, hosted by Simu Liu, and he was barely there. He was voiced over. He was
Mhm.
not present. I'm very, very happy to say that, after that experience where I was like, oh, I want to see the host interacting with these contestants, especially when you have like a big name. I was very pleased that we got the normal hosting experience with Jim Jeffries. For those that are uninitiated, he is a comedian. He's clearly Australian, which is bonus points on any show for me personally. Um, and yeah, so that is basically how this works. I will well no, that doesn't really tell you anything about how this works. So
That's how it works that we
that
get chosen to do the podcast.
that is
First they
how we
find
yes,
yes, they find
exactly.
a comedian or a guy with an accent, depending on who you are or what show it
Maybe
is. And
both.
then, yeah, and then you give us a call, and then we come in and
Mhm.
say, okay, is this is this serious? Are we gonna have to
Yeah.
tap into our strategy bag, or is this goofy and we're gonna make it about strategy and it's not supposed to be? Because we definitely have taken House of Villains to the next level of strategy, to
Yes.
the point where I think that podcast is so much fun and it's so cracked. But here, Jenny, I I I'm sorry, like the show seems fairly simple, but the
Yes.
people, I these people, how did they find these people? It's like they found them and then you find
Yeah.
us.
No, I'm feeling okay. I will say I went into this with fairly low expectations.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Listen, these shows are kind of a dime a dozen now. Reality
Yeah.
TV has exploded. Every network is kind of getting in on it now.
Mhm.
And even like and the social strategy stuff, especially, like we've seen Netflix kind of like ramping up more of different versions of social strategy games. Obviously, like we've got our mainstays, but like there's lots of other networks that are kind of trying their hand with some of this stuff. And so I wasn't sure what to expect, but I like to keep my expectations low. Um, there wasn't a ton of preseason hype for this show, so I was like, but I feel like I'm here to say, after one episode, I found myself very invested, and for a lot of the reasons that you have just hinted at here, in that a lot of the last few shows that we've personally covered together have been reality TV, like legends. Like even on
Mhm.
Dondi season 2, we got, a handful of reality TV legends mixed in with a cast of new people. And so this is 15 people we have never seen before. I don't believe any of these people have been on any other television. If they have, I'm not aware of it. And I was like, I hope this, if the cast is good, then this should deliver. And I feel like after one episode, there are a lot of big characters and possible legends, heroes, and villains waiting to happen. Like, I'm already ready to say, let's get Catherine on House of Villains season 4.
I was like, okay, how long can we go without saying the name Catherine? Like, how long? How long can? And here we are. We have to say it. Jenny, the reveal of these characters, right? We get the introduction, they explain the show, 15 competitors. There'll be one person at the head of this snake every week, and they will choose one person to be immune with them, and then that person will choose somebody like a safety chain, all the way until it gets to the final two. And then the person who is at the head of the snake will choose between the final two or who will go home. So the concept is fairly simple, but when they give us that introduction, these people are popping out of crates. And at first, I'm like, all right, I'm taking this very seriously, but we get some jokes, and then we get the way they pop out the crates, and Catherine like crawling out like a cat. I said, wait a minute, hold on. Who is this lady? And from that
in the
moment
red
on,
dress,
that lady delivered. I don't know why she thinks that no one's gonna catch on that she's like, oh, I'm pretending to be innocent, because she has resting I'm here to kill the rest of you face. And
right?
I love it so much.
Yes. Legend, after one episode, I feel like we have a massive crash and burn waiting to happen here. I'm seated for it regardless. So here's the thing. I'm watching this like, intro sequence. They're as we've said, they are brought in crates, and they release them. They break out of the crates. Jim Jeffries is in the center telling them to come out. And he's not like trying to overdo it with the jokes, but he's definitely like, yeah, why you might be wondering, why are you in crates? There's no reason. We just thought it'd be funny. Like,
and it was.
And it was because, okay, if I have covered one other Fox competition reality show that I can think of off the top of my head, and I'm sorry to the people at Fox if I'm missing something. There is a little show that Rob Sesternino and I used to cover on a podcast known as Hit or Quit. And that show was called Special Forces World's Toughest World's Toughest Test.
Is it on like season 3 now, Jenny?
Yeah, it keeps going. We had to tap out of that one eventually, but it's so serious and intense. And I felt like the first it's very well produced, but yeah, like the first few minutes or seconds or whatever time, who knows time, of this show, I was like, oh god, this is giving, like, we're taking it so serious. World's Toughest Test, like, they're in crates, like, this is so intense, but it was so camp at the same time.
Yes.
Like, it's so ridiculous. And then it wasn't overdoing the laughing at itself, but we got a little bit of it, and that's chef's kiss for me. You know what I mean? Like, I was very, very happy with, like, this is so ridiculous. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. I think someone at Fox got the note, Jenny, that it's just you're just too serious. Because I think your Fox show was Toughest Test, mine was Extracted, and they both took themselves very seriously. And I'm like, if you're gonna be competing with Dondi and the Trader, like, you gotta loosen up a little bit,
undo a button or two, Fox,
or something. And so Fox said, bet. And so they bring us Jim Jeffries, they bring us the crates, and then when they introduce the characters, they don't even tell us their names. We just get like they're like reality TV trope archetypes, right?
Yes.
Like the cop, the detective, the
OnlyFans creator.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we're back, baby.
So if you have not checked out the show yet, first of all, we encourage you to, because it'll give you the context. Listen to the podcast anyway, but if you want the context for the insanity that we're discussing here. But this show is, you got the Chiron, like, their title is them. Like, the
pastor.
The interesting it seems, I felt like this wasn't really explained to us, but it seems that they purposely cast people from professions, or they cast people and then they had enough that professions that they were like, okay, this can be a theme, sort of, where there's people from different professions where it's like, these are the professions that are really good at persuading and like tricking and fooling people, and that they're very much like supposed to represent their lifestyle or career as part of the theme of the show. Because it seemed that as they're coming out of the crates and then they, they get a little bit of time, or, they have kind of a bit of time to like speak to each other through what's going on at the beginning with Jim Jeffries. They know that there are other, like, they know the names of the other things. They're like, who's
Yeah.
the poker player? Like,
Right.
who's
Which one is the
the
OnlyFans person? Yeah.
they don't know the names. They know that
Mhm.
there are other people, and that's the role they play. So it's very interesting that it's like no one can hide their career here. Well, I guess but when it's
No.
very clear, like
Yeah, it's very clear.
what's on the roster here.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just thought that was such a funny way of doing it.
Especially when we get our first challenge, which is, like, one person has to step up and decide who are the 6 strongest competitors. And as you know, Jenny, we know their occupations, or at least it's very
Mhm.
apparent to the competitors who all is involved, right? So
You
they know
mean the
there's
person with the vest that said police on it was not obvious?
I don't know. That person
That
has a badge. They might be a detective. I don't know. So Mina, she volunteers. She said, "I'm the oldest person here, so I should be like I should volunteer for this role." She volunteers, and she's told, "Pick the strongest 6 competitors." She picks Amanda immediately, who I would say her occupation is probably the least presentable. Like, she's just wearing a suit, so it's like that lady could be doing anything. But so
suit means lawyer.
she says she's delicate and smart, like a lawyer. And so she
Mhm.
picks Amanda, but then she also goes and picks the village people. She picks Kaylee the cop, Cody the cowboy, Pastor Jacob, the cheerleader, and the detective, all back together, back to back. And so I said, okay, she obviously was picking the most obvious.
YMCA.
To me, I felt like she was just picking the most obvious, like, okay, I know what y'all are, so I want to go
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. The theme is very obvious here. I can say, well, clearly a police officer is going to be very tough. And she picked a lot of very physical looking people.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was interesting that she it did you think that it was obvious that McLean was a cheerleader? She
Well,
wasn't
she's
even
wearing a
wearing like
cheerleader skirt.
but that was just a pleated skirt. It did
But
not look like very obvious like she wasn't in a
I
full cheerleader
I
getup.
hear you, but if they're all dressed in their occupation, that's the closest thing you're gonna get.
Yeah. But like some of them weren't dressed in an occupation. Like what's his name? Brett, the boxer. He was just wearing a low cut shirt to show off the
He just
goods,
had
right?
his
Like he wasn't
yeah, he just had
wearing
his goods out. Yeah.
like why didn't he have gloves on? Like why are we half-assing some of this here? Like
When the pastor has to wear the priest collar, then, like, I think everybody should
no,
come
I
in
think
full cosplay.
that's just how Jacob dresses
Stop
every
it.
day.
There's no way. There's no way. I know Jacob was like, "Oh, I'm never gonna be able to win this game. Y'all gotta be dressed like like pastor." And his name is Jacob. Pastor Jacob here, signing in
Mhm.
to the snake. I said, "Oh God, he's doomed." But yeah, I think they could have been more obvious with, like, the boxer for sure. But
Mhm.
everybody else, I think you could eyeball it. So yeah, I too was very surprised that she kind of peeped that she was a cheerleader until I realized, well, I mean, if she's not the cheerleader, who is? Is it the woman in the suit who is delicate
Yeah,
and trustworthy? Like, okay,
that's true. That's a good
what are we doing?
point. Because like we said, they seemed to know the typecasts
Uh-huh.
amongst them. So, even if it wasn't obvious what someone was dressed as, you might be able to do process of elimination but based on
Mm-hmm.
how obvious everyone else was. Um yeah, no, so that was interesting. Can we talk quickly? Mina is our bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Um and she obviously steps up, like you said, says that she's the oldest one. To which Jim Jeffries decides to shade Brian, our ex-con. We have to talk about Brian, obviously.
Of course.
It says, I think this guy might be older than you.
Brian's like, thanks.
And he's like, thanks. And what do you feel? How do you feel about this decision to step up? Like when there's 15 of you standing in a circle, and it's someone needs to volunteer. It's not clear what this means. It's just he said someone needs to step up to be the leader. Is that what he said? Like just something about being the leader?
Yeah, someone needs to take a leadership role. And so do we have a picture of Mina? So
Oh,
so
I can.
she decides to step up in this role. And the thing about Mina is that I think that since she thinks she's the oldest person there, that maybe, and I would say this is probably pretty astute of her. Maybe, just maybe, like she knows that typically the older players are the ones who are in danger a lot of times in these reality games to go home first. And so if there's any way you can get power or safety early on, you want to jump on that. I don't know, because obviously that's going to have like varying results. But I do think that when you come in at like an obvious deficit at something like age that we know plays a part in a lot of these games, I think you do want to really try to set yourself apart. Grab that first HOH if you can, get the safety if you can, just to give yourself more time to get ingratiated. Because everyone else could just bond on being like, well, at least we're not the oldest. And so I didn't have a huge problem with it.
But she didn't pick the very obvious, apparently the other older person in our ex-con Brian. But yeah, so this is for those that are joining us here on YouTube, we got our visual here of Mina, our bounty hunter. And is that a handcuff earring she's wearing in that photo, Chappell?
Wow. I just realized that. Oh my God.
And I don't know if she was wearing that on the show. I didn't think her outfit was obvious bounty hunter, but like, what is the bounty hunter like outfit? You know what I mean?
Well, obviously handcuff earrings.
Is it handcuff earring? That's like, looks like subtle.
I think they had, I'm pretty sure we're at a point where we have to look at them and be like, yeah, were they trying to signal their professions? Look at me. Like, because if she's wearing handcuff earrings, you're like, so I don't think she's the ex-con,
Maybe she could be. She'd be like, I took these off and then I put them right on my ear.
Right. Ex-con, but make it fashion. Get into it. Yeah.
So Mina steps up here, and she is told to pick 6 people that she sees as the strongest. And like you said, about who you'd expect. We got a cop, we got a detective, cowboy, aka what is he? He's a bull rider, right?
A bull rider, yeah.
Yeah. Our cheerleader McLean. Is that it?
And Amanda, our lawyer.
And Amanda, our lawyer, of course. Yes. So, and then that leaves 8. So 7 of them in total with Mina, and that leaves the other 8. And I love when Jim Jeffries decides to just like stir the pot a little bit already, and he's like, that means she doesn't like you.
Yeah, she thinks that all of us, you suck. Y'all are awful.
She's like, no, I don't. Too. He's like, yeah, you do.
We're making a TV show, so actually you do. That's the type of energy that we don't get in a lot of shows, because the savvy players will be like, this is all arbitrary. I don't know any of y'all. Let's do a random count off. I'll just pick the first 6 who, whatever. Anybody want to volunteer? Those really safe ways of making sure that you don't have a target on your back. Mina said, nah, I'm going to go with this and hope for the best. And so Jim Jeffries like, perfect, because that's what we were counting on. And so we're going to take the people that you didn't leave, and we're going to make them compete in a side conversation while you go off and eat steak. So go pamper yourselves for a little bit while we get into the real game.
Yeah, so they get to go off and have this dinner where apparently their biggest decision is going to be whether they're going to have chicken and steak. And it's very much giving like, oh no, these 6 are going to be safe no matter what. And or 7, these 7 are going to be safe. And then these other 8 are going to be the ones that are vulnerable here. So I don't know. I'm not going to fault Mina too much, but I feel like it's so scary. It's so variable to step up in these situations, because I know like in the Big Brother fan community, we talk so much about like the pivotal first HOH and how winning it can be really good. It helps cement you as you know, you build a lot of relationships because people want to be on your side. But we've also seen a lot of first HOHs be a big crash and burn situation where it's like, maybe just, you know, don't put heat on yourself right away, and then you can kind of like sink into the background for a little bit here. But you know, this is a show we've never seen before. We don't know what she's volunteering for. But ultimately it's not going to be a great thing, because these 8 that get left are feeling some type of way about this. And before we even get to know who's going to be the snake, it almost feels like there's like an unspoken alliance building between the 8 that got left behind.
Yeah, and there should be, because you don't know where these other people are going, right? They're going to have stake. They're sitting around and talking. They're bonding.
Maybe they get power.
Maybe they get
We don't know.
power. And so, at the very least, in a game where you basically need 2 people to like you in every round, you need the person who's in charge and the last person to get picked to like you every time. Okay, so you might as well say, okay, if nothing else, we're never going to break this chain. The 6 of us are going to make sure the 6 of us get chosen, and then we'll get to them if possible. Like if they make the mistake of picking one of us, they're out, you know. And there's a lot of us before it's going to get to them. So yeah, it does feel very early on that like that's what we're going to get into, and I like it because they should be doing that.
Yes, I love that this kind of has forced them to work together, because all you need is to make a bond with one of these people, and if it all kind of connects, it's the only way that this that you can get eliminated is by being one of the bottom 2 in the safety chain. I think they were calling it the saving ceremony. That's
the saving ceremony.
The saving ceremony. So, you know, being the one of the last 2 to be picked, and then that the eliminated person gets chosen by the snake. So relationships are important here. And these 8 are basically already making one. However, first they have to compete. So Jim takes them to another place. I don't know. There's a big circle. And we've got boxes. They're like mini crates, kind of. And he reveals that they are about to participate in the first competition to see who the first snake is going to be. And I love this challenge because we've seen versions of this. But you know, they're each going to get a box, and in each box is either a snake or the one and only snake medallion. Is that what they called this?
Yeah, it's a medallion. Yeah, and I guess whoever gets it is like the medallion of power. You know, they are now the snake, and they get the most power in the game.
Again, if we're going to use Big Brother as a comparison, it's like getting the key, the HOH key around your neck, or the veto medallion, I guess. But I don't know. The medallion looked pretty badass. I think it just had an eye on it. I don't know. It looked
I thought it like almost like a Medusa thing. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So everyone except for one person is going to have a snake in their box, and everyone starts freaking out. To which Jim Jeffries is like, "You fucking idiots! This show is called The Snake. Did you really think that you weren't going to have to interact with the snake?"
It's like, what, day 1, minute 1? We just got here. We just got out of our crate. I didn't know I was immediately going to have to go grab a snake. Now, you know, Jenny, I do love my snakes. I am a reptile guy. And so I was like, oh, this is rarely will you ever hear me say this on reality TV. We talk about thousands of shows, and I never utter these words. I would have done so great in this competition.
Well, I will always say that, you know, the things that you think that you wouldn't be great at, you might surprise yourself. But I am fully 100% you are right about this, because you're the snake guy. You are the one person I know in like our podcast or friend group that I'm like, I know would not be freaked out by this. And in fact, it would be a delightful surprise. So because you have to put your hand in there to figure out if you have the medallion or a snake, and chances are you got a snake. And you know, some of them are freaking out, and I will jump to their defense here in that I feel like sometimes when people get cast on reality TV, depending on where they're at with the process, sometimes the show hasn't even gotten a name yet.
Right.
Like
they got out the crate and they said, "You're on the snake," and they said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. I mean, I know that they use that to like fool people on Too Hot to Handle. You're on a
Right.
show called like Dating Island or something. It's
Right.
like unnamed reality show. So it is possible that they might not have actually known that it was called The Snake. But,
Mhm.
I digress. So the point of this challenge is they're going to go one at a time in the circle, each take their time, put their hand in the box, see what they got, and then once everyone has checked, obviously then you have to use your poker face to, you don't want to make it obvious whether you have a snake or not. So it adds this layer of like, hey, if you're about to touch a snake, maybe you want to make it like make it super obvious that you've touched a snake, so that you don't get your box stolen. I don't know, because the next thing that happens is one by one in a circle, clockwise, I believe. Each person has a decision in where they can keep their box or trade it with another person. And this is where things start to get a little spicy.
Yes.
Um,
This is good. This is good
yeah,
because like, it's still a snake. So a lot of people it's hard to hide your initial reaction, your initial shock when you're reaching your hand in the box and you actually touch a snake. Because if you haven't touched a snake before, or if you have like an idea of what it is to touch a snake, then it's going to be jarring because you're thinking you're either about to touch metal, but your mind is probably thinking, I'm about to touch a snake. And so when you actually get to it, you're like, am I touching its head? Am I touching its mouth open?
yeah,
Like the mental like gymnastics you're doing right now in your mind, that's probably taking over. Like the fear is kicking in if you are not a snake person. And then like even if you are, you also don't want to like shove your hand in the face of a snake. So you're probably going in there a little timid. And we see a couple people like immediately react. Like there's no way you can fake the reaction that they have. Like
yeah.
the just like shock of like, oh my God, I just touched a snake.
I'd be one of
And
those
so
people.
yeah, and it's completely understandable. But it's like if
Yeah.
you're locked in, or maybe if you don't go early, like you can like mentally like prepare yourself, like, okay, whatever you do, keep your strong face, like just da 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 da. Or you could do like Jack, our nonprofit director, did, and just not
Mhm.
touch anything
This
at
is so
all,
funny.
and convince yourself that you have the medallion with no
I
evidence except I didn't feel anything.
I didn't feel a snake, so I must have had a
So I
medallion.
must have had the medallion, even though he
Ye
clearly does not have the medallion.
This was great. Yeah, I love that because some people might have even played up the reaction of getting the snake, because it's like if you don't have or sorry, if you have a medallion,
Mhm.
you want people to not trade with you.
Right.
If you want to win this challenge. Again, there's the whole element of maybe you want to throw this.
Which is crazy. I
So
don't think you should be throwing this at all.
yes, and so we should get to this because
Yeah.
there's a couple different theories here. And our ex-con Brian, who is one of our big breakout characters, I would say, of episode 1. The second person to go is Jordan, our HR person.
Mhm.
And she because Devonte goes first, he trades with Catherine, and they have to trade, obviously.
Mhm.
And then now Jordan wants to keep her box. This is the first person saying, no, I'm going to keep what I got. And Brian's like, why would you want to keep your box? That must mean you have the medallion. And then he becomes fixated on this idea.
Mhm.
And so they keep going. Brett swaps with Jack because Brett, has the read of Jack, who did not react because he did not feel a snake, but he did
Yep.
not feel anything.
Nope. Jack also believes that he incorrectly believes that he has the medallion. So they're on the same page.
Yes. So there is like a line of people who think that Jack has the medallion, including Jack himself, which is beautiful. Love this. And so we get down to, oh gosh. Okay, Catherine takes her box back from Devonte. So now Catherine is back with her original box. And
Which to me,
then
Jenny, is a clear giveaway that this woman had the medallion. Like, why would she give a damn? If she
right.
didn't have it, why would she want the snake?
Exactly. It's like, why would you take back a box that was taken from you if it was useless?
Right. Like you could just
Unless
take
you
someone
really wanted
else's.
to touch a snake again. Like you're
Right.
like, oh damn.
Or I guess if you're throwing the child, but like again, why would you let's rewind a little bit. I understand the idea of Jordan, the HR person, being like, no, I'm not giving you my box, because that maybe that will allure people, like allure people to her to be like, oh, she didn't want to give her her box.
Yeah.
I'll take her box. But to be like, he took my box, thus I'm going to take my box back, even though I know it's a snake. Are you trying to double bluff somebody into being like, oh,
Right.
okay, well, she must not have it because she wanted it back. So she wants me to think that she wanted it back because she, like, no, that lady clearly
Especially,
has the
yeah,
medallion.
especially because like depending on where they were in the position, it is possible that someone who took your box now has a different box if
Yeah.
someone else traded with them, right? But where
Mhm.
Catherine was in like the sequence, she knew that Devontae still had her box. So it wasn't even like I'm trading to see what like something different here.
What else
She
is,
fully was
yeah.
like, give me back my box. So very interesting. And that wasn't enough for people to think that she had it, because there are still this sequence of people that really think it was in Jack. Frank, he was our makeup
Our makeup
artist, love
artist.
him.
Yeah.
He's like, Jack is like showing his emotions on his face. He's got that medallion, and now Brett has it because he took Jack's box, so he takes that box. And then we're going around the circle. There's a little bit of swapping going on, and we get down to Brian, our ex-con, with the last swap. And this is where things get interesting, because Catherine, our red dress lady of
Queen.
listen, let's just say she's a tech manager. There she is. She is a tech manager, to which I say, you know what? Leaders in tech, yeah,
Yeah.
villain. I get
Yeah.
it. This is
Women in
the
STEM.
type, right now, especially. It's like, I get it. This was excellent casting.
Jenny, we have to stop that. Look at the mug. Look at her face. This lady is not giving you like innocent, like, oh, you can trust me. This lady came to play. Okay. Catherine's
Uh-huh.
here. That this woman wants us to believe that she's like, I'm a sweet, innocent girl. I'm going to cry during the elimination. That's because it's, ma'am. I seen the way you popped out that crate. Did
She
you?
is
This woman,
serving. And that's
TV
the thing.
gold.
That's the thing, Chappell, is because you might see this like cast photo and be like, okay, she's serving in the cast photo.
Yeah.
But that's not how she could just be serving that in the cast photo, and then she no, there was many points after they
Many
were out of
points.
the crates and they're
Mhm.
all in that circle where she was giving this exact look the entire
This
time. In
this was
fact,
her resting face. This lady just
yes.
serves unforgivably.
Like that, yes, she can turn on the tears. She can lock in to this innocent, oh, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings persona, but she was showing this for like the first 15 minutes that they were all staring at each other. So this was not a secret.
No, you can't hide this type of power, Jenny. I'm sorry. Like, that's why she's telling us like they're never gonna suspect me. And in my mind, I'm like, how are they missing you? Because you're just like being like, it's just like the energy around her is like,
Oh
I
yeah.
came here, I'm a baller. Okay. I'm about to come
She's a
embarrass
boss
y'all.
bitch.
And
Yeah.
she's killing it in confessional. She's talking shit. She's
Oh
like,
yeah.
no, we
She's
got
pulling out
wait,
the
we're gonna
phone. Oh,
the phone, Jenny. We've made it to the point of reality TV where you can have a phone. You can use your notes app to keep up with like your
you
with
can
your
pull it out.
bits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
They're not taking their phones away from them here. This isn't claim to fame. You're not
right.
gonna get kicked out for having the phone. Um, she's pulling out the notes app. She's got a whole list of her strategies numbered. What is
Yeah.
this? Like BR's rules? Like what?
The look, the Catherine rules are better. I'm sorry. The
I
KC
think they
rules,
might be.
they might be. Jenny, so the thing she does here, how do you feel about what she ends up doing as Brian is about to make his decision? Because he is about to incorrectly assume that Jordan, our HR professional,
Mhm.
just decided to throw the challenge.
Yes. Okay, so here's the thing. While I feel that Catherine is definitely showing like what a baller she is and that she is serious and taking it serious. I actually liked this move if it had
Yes.
worked out for her. And honestly, if it didn't work out, it still is good for her because it has now she has something she can literally point to and say, I told the truth and I tried to help you. I wanted to help you. And truly this does create a bond with Brian because she says, hey, I've got the medallion, take my box.
Yeah.
And he says, I think you're good, but I don't think you're that good.
Which is crazy. Brian, what are you doing?
He's
Brian,
an ex-con.
I mean, there's a reason why he got caught. Brian, okay, hear me out. Because I like Brian as a character. And so I am like passively rooting for Brian. I am.
Right.
Because I need to see these like ex-con skills at work, right? He's like a jewel thief or something. So that's pretty cool. But like Catherine says, take mine. I have the medallion. He goes, no, I'm going to take Jordan's. He's wrong. Brian, listen to me. The worst case scenario, if you take Catherine's, then she's going to get yours, right? It's a snake. You're not, if she's lying, you're still going to have a snake, okay? So at best, this doesn't work out for you, right? If she's lying. If she's telling the truth, you just made an ally. And someone just,
and now you have power.
And now you have power. And if she's lying, you can hold that against her. She just lied in front of all these people. Why would she go out of her way to trick you? What does that benefit her? You know, like,
especially in that position too. He's the last one to go.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't benefit her at all to be like, take my snake. It was like, okay, and then what? Like, so she's like, you reveal, damn, Catherine, you lied to me in front of all these people. I guess you can't be trusted. She's no longer she's not the snake at that point because she would have your snake.
You know what you're giving her.
And she's basically on the block to get elimination. Right. Like, and then we can all turn against her because she lied to your face and to everybody else's face.
That's a win-win.
You have to take this. I was like, Brian.
No, I know. I couldn't believe it. This guy had blinders on in that he was so sure that Jordan had to have been lying and had the medallion, and that I think that he just like could not see any other logic. And this is not to defend this decision. This was a terrible decision because for everything you have just said, there is no downside here because
just take it.
Like the only thing is if you think that she's just trying to like make a moment and you're just trading a snake for a snake and you think that there's like a really good chance that if you trade with Jordan, like that's the only thing I can kind of use as an explanation here. But it's like, my guy, your reads are bad. You were wrong.
I think he's just so confident that his read is correct. You know, it's like, like you said, it's blinders. It's like this flashing light is saying, pick me. And he's just like, I'm better than that. You're not that good. It's like, good at what? What could she possibly be doing that would be like so nefarious? Take the deal. Take the deal.
Yeah.
So sad.
If she has nothing, you've made her look like, you know, a shady liar. Well, she's made herself look like that, and that's an easy target. And then you know neither of you are in power, so chances are, even if you don't have power, like you've made her look worse. No, I really do think that was a wild choice. Here's the thing. It's not like he's a criminal who has never been caught. Okay. So we're out here saying,
get into that
too, ex-con, very, very good at deceiving people. I'm like, well, you did get caught. You went to jail for 3 years.
Do we have a picture of Brian?
Yes, let me pull up let's get Brian. Hold on, let me find our guy Brian.
Catherine will end up as our snake for sure. And she will win this. Brian is incorrect. And she's like, I would have gave it to you.
Efforts.
Right. And she was going to throw it. But Brian is like, no, I see through her. Like, I could tell that there's something like that she's trying to play me. I just know she's trying to play me. In a way, he's not wrong. She is trying to play him, but she's trying to build an alliance with this man. I don't know why she chose him as her mark, but she is really hell-bent on making sure that Brian is safe throughout this episode. Brian will go on to have meetings and talk to people and socialize in the house like everybody else, But we will get a clip of Brian talking to a detective being like, yeah, man, I was such a good criminal. Oh my God. It was so much fun. Like, like jewel thief, or, like, and the detective is like, why
Armed
is he
robbery
admitting
of
to this?
banks.
Right. He's like, why is he
What's the
admitting this?
statute of limitations on these cases?
Am I on the clock? Should I call my boss?
Yeah.
Is like, should I get the attorney general on the phone? I love Brian.
I do
I don't
too.
know. I don't know if y'all can tell,
And
but this is my guy.
no, that's the thing is like I love him even more that he made a bad choice. Like I love a character that's like a little too confident in their abilities and we get to see them stumble. And I that's what we're getting from Brian already. He's bragging about only getting caught for one of like the 22 robberies because they could only he was in 3 different lineups and they couldn't like identify him or pin him for more than one. It's like I got caught but I only got caught for one, so my win percentage is pretty good.
Jenny, he wants to be a threat so bad, and I'm like, that's the opposite. You should not want to be a threat. You should be in the final 2 of every. If you're putting yourself in the snake, and the head of the snake should be looking at you and the other person and thinking, I should keep you because I can trust you or because you're not threatening to me. And you're walking around being like, look at all the things I get away with. Like, Catherine, I don't trust you. You're not that good. You're not going to pull one over on me. Like, Brian, turn it down a little bit. But I think he was Catherine because he cannot.
But let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Okay.
Is Brian so good?
No.
That he
I see where you're going.
I know.
I see what you're
He's like,
do.
I'm gonna be so messy that people are looking at me being like, this idiot is not a threat to me. Because that is kind of what happens with Catherine here. She, for whatever reason, kind of picks him as someone where she was willing to put him in power. She told him truthfully, I have the medallion, take my box. He said, nah, dumb lady, I'm picking this one. And, she proves to him that she can be trustworthy and she decides, I still want to work with this guy. Because I've also now seen him make a insanely terrible decision. This guy is not a threat to me. And also I think that now he trusts me.
Yeah. And Catherine will go to bond with him by saying, oh my God, you're an ex-con. My family's full of ex-cons. We're besties. And then she will go and tell the cop, my mom and dad were cops. Oh my God. Like, so, yeah. Catherine.
Catherine was doing it all. I cannot believe this is obviously going to blow up in her face because they did not so we have Catherine. I know we're jumping around, but we got to talk about this. Catherine is later on talking to our detective, Derek, which you might say, a detective named Derek on reality TV.
Oh my God.
I have said that. Here's the thing, though. I feel like this guy is Derek Levasseur meets Jeff Schroeder.
I see it.
You see it?
I see it. Here's Derek Levasseur in job and
job and name.
And name, yeah. Yes. But he's got the Jeff Schroeder like
his
like
face,
stature.
the way he talks. He might just be from Illinois, and that's why. I don't know. I don't even know if he's from Illinois. Let me see if I can pull up Derek.
Right, do we have a picture of him?
This conversation that Catherine has with Derek. This is Derek. Okay, you might not like it might not be showing in the photo, but this guy had Big Jeff energy. Big Jeff. Like maybe like middle Jeff energy, like not mid Jeff, I wouldn't say he was like popping off the screen in a Big Jeff way. But he had a bit of the vibe. I don't know where does it say? If I
we don't get a real, we get a
Naperville, Illinois. That is literally right outside of Chicago. Okay, so that makes sense. It makes sense. I have family in Naperville actually. Fun fact. I'm related to this man actually. I just found out. So Catherine is like, my parents are actually both in the police or whatever. And then she goes, my dad was a sergeant. And my mom, actually, I can't remember. What? How does
Oh, they
and
met
it
on the
seems like
force
this
years
they met on the
ago.
force.
Yeah, it's a love story.
But she doesn't even try to make up a position for her mom. And my mom, I don't remember.
She was
Something.
there. She was like a
She
cop
did
or something.
something.
Yeah, meter
Um
maid or something. She did something.
and if this raised any red flags to Detective Derek, it was not obvious. But we get the spliced earlier of Catherine saying to Brian, "Oh, I come from a family of ex-cons. That's probably why I feel so comfortable with you." So this lady is like day one telling different backstories to two different people that we've seen. Like
Yeah.
this is gonna catch up to her later, right? For sure.
Just because we're not allowed to have nice things, we're not allowed to sit in worlds where the cracked person is still doing well in the
Right.
game. Like that's just not how we live our life.
Right.
So this is
Yeah.
probably going to come crashing down soon. But the show would be way more entertaining if people like Catherine are able to last a little bit longer. If we could keep Brian around for a while, because there's some
Mhm.
big characters. And so yeah, this is going to be tough. They're like for how me and you get down. Keep the strategist cool, but we want the crazy people. We want the people who are
We
actually giving us good TV.
Yeah, we need a balance of the crazies. And you know what? If we can get the crazies that are also like strategic, even better. And I feel like that's kind of like Catherine's kind of hitting both those points because she is wacky. Like she is
Mhm.
going hard, but she's also literally playing the game. And does have some people fooled as of this first episode.
Yeah. And so the group that played the snake competition, they're basically pitted against the group that were the stronger individuals. It looks like Mina has a target on her back just from being the
Mhm.
person who made the decision on how to split the groups up. And so
Exactly.
there's going to be some question of like, who's going to save who? We see people like Catherine going in and making these alliances. I think she goes and makes the alliance with Jordan from HR and
Mhm.
Jordan,
You
that's what
gotta
I'm
have
calling.
a connection on HR. It can help you later.
Exactly. Jordan from HR, her and Brian have like in her mind like a three-way connection. She's like, if I save you, Jordan, will you go on to save Brian? And so we see in a little bit of that, and then we see kind of the other pieces fall in line. Devontae, I think he ends up in a boys alliance
He's a poker
with
player. Yes.
yeah, he's a poker
Jack
player.
and Brett, I think is it?
Yeah, with
Like
yeah
the
with
young
Jack.
guys.
Yeah, Jack the nonprofit guy and Brett the boxer. Devontae. I like Devontae because he had a good read in this episode. He was the
He
one
did.
who he was the only person who peeped that Catherine was like she had the medallion. He knew
Yeah.
she took the box back and he's like, damn it, she's about to get away with it. And so I'm really interested to see, if someone like him, I don't know if his medallion says poker player, but
I think those are
I don't know.
cards.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they? Like let
I
me
think
see.
that's
Maybe
what this is what we're saying. Are these people wearing accessories? It looks like 3 playing cards to me.
it
And this
is. It literally is.
yeah.
I think they had to dress for like their profession. This is crazy. Like we got
Do
to
you
go
think
back
that
and look at
like
the HR picture.
wardrobe do you think they came with these or wardrobe was like, yes, we got this off of Etsy. We've got the poker player
Yeah.
chain. Here you go, Mina. These handcuff earrings. Put those
I
on.
I respect Mina a lot more if she owns the handcuff earrings
Me too. And
because honestly, if you're not a bounty hunter or cop or detective and you own handcuff earrings, you have my attention.
yeah, no
like
shit.
I'm like, tell me about those.
Yeah, I want to hear the story behind
Yeah,
this.
now what do you
Um,
have those for?
no, here's the thing. We've seen poker players on reality TV a lot.
Mhm.
And we've had a couple good ones, but also we've had some that, are really confident in that this is going to be the skill that allows them to do well in the game. And then sometimes they struggle with the social stuff. They might have all of the, like they've got the math, they know the moves they have to make, they can read the people, but they're like struggling with like the bonds and the
Mhm.
likability. I know everyone's filling in some of the blanks of some of the people of the past that fell into that. But I feel like Devontae, like, again, great read. He basically got screwed by being the first person,
Uh-huh.
which I don't know how it was decided where each person was. Maybe it was just a random draw because
Yeah.
he had to go first, correctly picked Catherine's box, and then it's going to get stolen back. So that was great, and he's got himself in an alliance. He seems very likable. Seems to be getting along with people. The one thing though here is like it's such an obvious like bro alliance. You know what I mean? Like it's like they all pick each other in sequence eventually. Like it's so and people are always going to like look at like the strong bros. Like it's going to be very obvious that those three are working together if it isn't already. So and again, like these people are wearing their professions literally on their ears, on their on their neck. And I think that, there's a lot of professions here that people maybe feel like are, oh God, this is, if we were playing Survivor, I would lie about this profession. But he's not gonna be able to hide that. Like, is that going to hurt him? Because this challenge specifically is really good if you're good at poker, because it's all about bluffing and reading, people's reactions to what they're, sticking their hand in.
Yeah, but I assume they're not going to be doing the same exact snake challenge every week. And so
every week,
yeah,
get ready for it. They're just touching snakes every week.
We call it the snake for a reason,
Yeah.
But,
I do think that's not the last snake we will see.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Can we jump to the safety ceremony? Because I think that's a cool way where we can kind of go through some of the relationships that happen here.
Yeah.
Because what I will say is that they were very obvious and blatant about who they were working with. And I just have so many issues with what was going on. So we start with Catherine, the head of our snake. And as we talked about, she will pick Jordan from HR.
She has to cry first, though. This is one of the strategies on her phone, is that she's got to come off innocent. She really didn't want this. So she's crying before she even starts the ceremony.
This lady is like, y'all, I love her. I'm sorry, but y'all, come on, y'all. This lady just screams like, look at me, I'm a villain. It's right there. But she's like, it's so hard for me to do this. And they're like, oh, take a deep breath, Catherine. And then afterwards, she's like, yeah, I faked it. And what about it? I was like, yes, the type of villain I need. So she's the head of the snake. And she picks Jordan from HR because she says, I think I have complete control over her. And she will do exactly what I want. And to that, Jordan does exactly what she wants and picks Brian, the ex-con, as she was told.
That was the plan because Catherine goes to Brian and says, here's the thing. I feel good about Jordan. I'm probably going to pick her first, but I'm going to talk to her first and make sure she picks you. But it looks better if I don't pick you, because now after everything that happened at the challenge, it's going to be way too obvious that we're working together. So that I like you. So that plan goes through.
Yes. Next up, if you can find a picture of our makeup artist,
Brian.
Brian says, I'm doing this and I totally don't have a man crush on him, I promise. And decides to pick our fabulous makeup artist, Frank. Who says, like, I'm Italian and Puerto Rican, so do the math. I'm manipulative. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't know that was a thing I should be looking out for. But Frank, he's in a play.
Okay. I love this guy already. He was very afraid of the snakes, and was one of the people that could not hide it. And you know what? He had good reads too, because
he knew that guy thought that he had the medallion.
Here's the thing. He read what was an honest reaction properly. It was just that Jack was wrong about what his own truth. Okay. He said that is a man that did not touch a snake, and I know it. And he's right. But so he gets screwed by Jack just not knowing what he touched, because he touched nothing. But yeah, so I feel good. I feel like he's, obviously one of those people that is making good social relationships. God, don't you just love when a man has to clarify that it's a non-sexual man crush? Like, just so you know, I just want to make sure that I really love this guy, but like not in a gay way. Like, okay, Brian, we get it. It's fine. Right. You can just
It's like he wanted to give him a compliment, but he was like, but also I don't want y'all to think I'm getting like, okay, Brian, we
Yeah.
get it. Like, it's like, bro. And even if we didn't, it's like that's not going to change our perception. It's fine. Like it's like the thing you want to clarify. It's like I'm an ex-con, but I'm not gay. Like, slow down. I'm a criminal, please. So it's like, all right, thank you.
Brian is messy, and I love it.
I love them. I'm sorry, I love them both.
No, I love them too, and that's the thing. So I feel like Frank is like not coming off as a threat, especially if you're like the kind of person that's like, squeamish and is like he's obviously like giving a little bit of like social butterfly. And that leads us to our next pick, where Frank is going to select who he calls his Barbie doll.
Yes.
Our OnlyFans model, Alyssa.
Right. And they did that. We have a picture of Alyssa. You see them sitting around and talking about Alyssa, like, well, who's the OnlyFans model? And Cody, our bull rider, is like, isn't it obvious? The woman in the pink. So we'll get a few cool sound bites from Alyssa, like, oh, if you want to know what kind of content I make, then make sure you subscribe.
Listen, you can't give it away for free. You can't tell them what they're gonna see. You got to make them subscribe first to figure it out.
However, she really won my heart during the snake competition when she's like, I don't even know what's going on because I stopped paying attention after I touched the snake. I was like, real. I said, I'm so happy I get to talk about this with Jenny, because Jenny, how many times have you heard the rules to anything and then having to be like, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah. It's like it was like I was watching it and I was like, one of us.
Man. No, even watching the show, I was like, now what happened? What do they call it? The safety ceremony? I was like, oh, damn, I totally zoned out. What was I thinking of? Yeah. She spoke to me.
No, it was so funny where she was like, honestly, I didn't even know what was going on. Like about a couple minutes in, I totally just like blacked out. And to which I say completely fair, because even if you knew what was going on, you might like have to then put your hand in and touch a snake, and then you're just like, no thoughts. I don't know what happened. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Do I want the snake? Is this good? And you know what? I love this for her because I believe this was authentic, but they're going to have a perception about this kind of person on like this. Everyone is very typecast here, right? We're doing this archetypes thing. We're leaning into it. And God, what a great one to have, because it's going to be so underestimated. It's going to be like, oh, she's just going to use her looks for attention. She's going to flirt with the guys. She's a dumb blonde, right? And you know what? It's like, it's early. Let them think that. Let them underestimate you, queen, because one of these days you might understand what's going on in the challenge, and that will be your day.
And it's funny, the show loves the fact that she's an OnlyFans creator, because they keep like all the sound bites are like, and then the OnlyFans creator, like she has a name. She has a name.
Yeah.
Because like they definitely show the person that will end up getting chosen here, Jack, our nonprofit person. He almost exclusively calls her the OnlyFans person, the OnlyFans creator, or the OnlyFans girl in this episode. And I'm thinking that's probably not how he's referring to her all the time, but the show is eating it up. The show is like, make sure you remind them that there's an OnlyFans person. Do you have a picture of our nonprofit guy? We haven't really talked to him. Talked about him yet, but he's next in the safety chain.
Yes. And so a lot of like free advertisement for OnlyFans. Like I thought it was, maybe this isn't a big deal, but I'm surprised that they're like not saying like content creator. Like they're like specifically she is on OnlyFans.
We're selling sex here, Jenny. We're selling sex.
But we're referring to the actual platform. Like I thought that was kind of interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like we have like a partnership with them.
I don't know. Is OnlyFans a sponsor of the snake? I don't know.
Right. The brand has gotten so big that like you can say OnlyFans and it not necessarily mean OnlyFans. It's like it's trademarked, but it's so big that it's like Xerox or like Kleenex.
Or like Kleenex.
It's like exactly. Yeah, it's like it's like you could say Kleenex because no one's actually thinking I should go buy some of that. People are like, oh yeah, you just needed a tissue. So I think maybe there's some of that energy.
that might be where OnlyFans is at. I just thought it was interesting as like we're saying specifically OnlyFans, like we're not trying to like make this generic sounding.
Right.
Yeah. So
And,
here
and
we've got
and
Jack.
wait, hold on, Jenny. And we don't
Yeah,
even know if she's like a sex worker. You know, like only you
that's
can do
the
anything
thing.
on OnlyFans, and they're like, and keep it that way. You know, make sure you know
Yeah,
that this could be like a wink and a nod to something nasty, but it doesn't
and
have to be.
that's why she's a good businesswoman. Is she's not
Mm-hmm.
revealing
Right.
what is, and it's like give a little intrigue, make
Yeah.
them drop however much, even if it's just for 1 month to find out what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um yeah, so we don't know what she does, but she says that she's getting people's attention and money, and that is true.
Yeah.
That's just objectively true if she has a decent enough following on OnlyFans. But yes, I do love that Jack. Well, they're just all getting to know each other. Okay.
Yeah.
They're gonna refer to some of these people as their professions, but yeah, he's definitely like, thank you, OnlyFans model, for saving me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, this is our self-proclaimed golden retriever energy. Do you agree with that after one episode of Jack?
As someone who has been told that I do have a similar energy before, like I've
Yeah.
definitely like tiptoed in the golden retriever waters. It's definitely been
Yeah.
something like people have been like Chappelle. It's kind of giving that. I can see it. You know, I wear my hat backwards too. I've also
Yeah.
worked in nonprofit, so I felt like I
I'm
know
a
what they're
sucker for
going for
that.
here. Yeah, but he's like, you know, if I got to flirt to win this game, I'm gonna do it. And so I think maybe he has some eyes for Alyssa. Who knows? But I think Jack did not realize how big of a character he was going to be just from the fact that he thought he had that medallion and did not. Like I
Yeah.
cannot take him seriously because he put his hand in the box, did not touch the snake, and was just like, yeah, y'all, you see it.
So Jack to me feels like this is the kind of guy we would see on basically any reality TV show. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's giving like knows a bit about strategy,
Right.
is good socially,
Mm-hmm.
is gonna kind of downplay it a little bit, but is actually like quite a bit of a threat.
Right.
But people are clocking him already in terms of like he's showing, he he's showing, whether it's true or not, his reads on his face. And yeah, I don't know. I think that he's interesting because like this picture, it's not giving like this is a big character. But I feel
No.
like he comes off super endearing. Like I liked him in this one episode. And I don't know, but he's in this like very obvious bro lines. I think it helps him that he's like willing to flirt and like, he's gonna bro down with the guys. He's attractive, he's young. But he's not like the most obvious of that, because the two guys that he's going to link up with in Devontae and Brett are like Brett, when we have to get to Brett, because Brett is a boxer and he's attractive, and we're going to hear about that a lot from our police officer, Kaylee,
Kaylee. Yeah. So
who's
yeah.
really
So
feeling Brett.
well, so Jack picks Devontae, right? And
Yes.
we already talked about Devontae, our poker player. And Devontae, when he has to choose, he says, "I'm gonna pick my boy Brett," and I like slap my forehead, like, come
Yeah,
on,
I'm
y'all,
like,
come on, y'all, come on, y'all, stop it. What are we doing? This is not a
we're not
competition to
even
show each
trying
other
to
how
hide
much
it.
you like each other, right?
Yeah.
So he picks his boy Brett. And we, like you said, Brett is attractive. Pull up the picture. Brett, it has
Okay.
he has his titties out. He's
He
like,
does. He
yeah,
does.
and he keeps showing like, hey, what
There we go.
about you gonna like this chest? And so yeah, they're all kind of talking about Brett as like, someone here who is physically imposing but also attractive. And so he's going to lean into that a lot as the boxer. And so for Brett, he is at a crossroads because he has had a very obvious interaction with Kaylee, our cop, who we will get to later on. Kaylee is all over this man,
Yeah.
to the point where our cowboy Cody is going around saying she's the horniest person in the house.
Yeah.
Like this horny cop. And I know how much you love the H word, Jenny. And
I know.
so,
You dropped that a
so,
lot as it's in my notes,
so,
H word.
yeah. So Brett is the last of these alliance of people who were left out, right? He's the last of the people who were in the snake competition. So he has to be the one to start the chain that is eventually going to have our person eliminated here. While it does look like he could go with Kaylee, who I think would probably be a better choice here,
Mm-hmm.
because she's obsessed with you, so she might always
That's
pick you to save you, which is the point of the
mm-hmm.
game. He
Mm-hmm.
says, no, I this is going to shock people, but the last 2 conversations I've had with this person, including one where we both decided and bond that medicine is your food. I mean, food is your medicine. Um, that is going to lead me to come and save the person who's most in danger right now, who is Mina. So he ends
Yes.
up going and choosing our bounty hunter Mina and her handcuff earrings and throwing a wrench in the plan, because it did look like Mina was going to be punished for making her decision at the beginning of the episode.
Yes, there's so many questions this leaves me with, because it's like it seemed very obvious that, you know, because Mina put herself out there and you know, picked 6 people, that she would be the easy first boot. And that's the thing with, like, you know, volunteering and making,
Mm-hmm.
you know, putting some attention on you in that first round. This makes me wonder, like, what was, because the 8 that were left out, they all pick each other in succession, which is
Mm-hmm.
why I fault, you know, Devontae even more for saying my boy. You could have
Mm-hmm.
just said the 8 of us,
Yeah.
we were not chosen. The last one that's left there, Brett, come on over. Like, he did not need
Right.
to say my boy. You had the
He
easiest
just
out.
said
He's
Brett.
the last one left. Like,
Right. He didn't have to explain nothing. He could have just said, and I choose Brett.
yeah, one other
The thing is,
person. Yeah,
the,
he didn't
I
have
I had
to.
to pick
Yeah.
someone. Yeah,
Yeah. Because Jim is going to, you know, explain to us that, like, the 8 that were left out have now all saved each other, and we're left with the 7, Mina's dinner party group. And yeah, this is the big shocker that Brett picks Mina, who would have been the easy boot, in a lot of people's eyes. I think that that's what a lot of people were preparing for. So that makes me question, like, does this possibly did Catherine have any like, did this group talk? Because we knew there was a little bit of, like, talking of, like, I'm gonna pick this like, Catherine's telling Jordan, I'm gonna pick you, will you pick Brian? Brian knew that was the plan. Brian's probably thinking about who he's going to pick. You gotta think that they're talking about this, right? So did was there some sort of situation, because it tells me that Brett really didn't, maybe the H wordness that Kaylee was, you know, giving was like, he couldn't even see it as a benefit. He was like, I can't do this for another day. And
I it
he,
it could have
like,
been that.
did that group of 3 bros, did they kind of, like, pull some strings here and be like, this is what we're doing. We're keeping,
Yeah.
because if we leave Mina for the 2, she's gonna get eliminated. We got to get rid of Kaylee.
Yeah, I don't think they were that premeditated, because they're just not approaching the game with that much like they're just not.
Yeah.
There's no finesse in the guys alliance right now. But
Yeah.
I do think that you're right. I think that the Kaylee thing kind of rubbed him the wrong way, and he's just like, I'll pick Mina. Hell, like I like at
Which
least
is
we've had,
wild, because,
but he's like,
like,
at least we've had 2 conversations that didn't involve my body.
and here's the thing. If he's feeling super objectified and it's, like, wearing on him, that is fair, and I support that. But to, like you said, what why, when in a game where having just one person pick you in the safety chain is going to keep you safe, that is, like, having someone who is clearly obsessed with you is such
Uh-huh.
a valuable thing. And it's not to say that you need to keep her around for the whole game, but it's like, we just got here, guy. Like, you know, maybe, like, just give it another, give yourself guaranteed safety another week. However,
Yeah.
if she is dead in the water and no one else f's with her, then how valuable is her picking you if no one's gonna pick her,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but
unless
you're
she
in a
wins the snake?
Yeah, you're in a 3-person alliance. So, I mean, you could end up at the bottom of that alliance at some point where you're the last one. And then,
Yeah.
who knows? I think you need all the allies you can get because you need at least 2 people to vouch for you every round or you're going to lose. And so, like, he has 2. And so he's fine. But I just don't think you should be isolating yourself. Like, she might not be that valuable, but she's also not a detriment unless like you said, unless you just can't deal with it. Like, socially,
Yeah.
it's just rubbing you the wrong way.
That's what I wonder is just that, like, we obviously saw the way that she was rubbing him the wrong way despite thinking that they had a lot of chemistry. And he's telling other people that, does that sour the perception of her with everyone else? And did other people also have, you know, interactions with her where they're like, I'm not really vibing with her. I really think that she's just interested in hooking up with someone. She thinks this is a dating show. And
Mhm.
she was never going to be in a position of power. So how helpful is it to have someone that's going to pick you if no one's going to even pick that person? It's like having an ally that's never going to have any power and you have
Yeah.
other options. I get that. And if it's too much of an annoyance, like, fair enough. But yeah, like, this was the big shocker. People are surprised that he picks, the first person to be saved here is Mina, and which tells me that, like, he knew that that was maybe the only way that he could ensure that Mina wasn't going to go and that it could be Kaylee,
Who
is
knows?
keeping her out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
I can't wait to find out where
Yeah.
if this pays off for him because I think that might be a really good move for him. But again, this is just like you're leaving somebody out who like obviously is going to choose you any chance they get.
Mhm.
So choices. He ends up picking Mina. Mina will pick her number 2, the lawyer Amanda. We haven't
Amanda.
put Amanda on our screen yet, but as we
You want me
said,
to?
she was wearing a suit. She is very happy that Mina thinks that she is delicate. And
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how Mina landed on that, but okay. Because, as far as Amanda's concerned, this is good. I don't want to be looked at as a threat. And maybe she can use her lawyer skills to argue her way into some good spots. So yeah, we get Amanda here. And,
Yeah.
I think she had a good episode. She didn't have
I think
no
so
one said
too.
anything
Yeah.
negative about her. She seems to be like locked in pretty much with Mina.
Yeah, and that I think that getting picked first by Mina is like a really good look for her,
Mhm.
because it seems that Mina did something to redeem herself, at least with Brett. Apparently, all you have to do is have really relatable conversations about food being medicine. Who knew?
Real.
But yeah, she wasn't giving, like, doing poor socially. Like, I didn't get any bad vibes from her. She just got dealt a bad hand by being picked in a group that got screwed here. And so the other little alliance that we saw form plays out here, where Amanda is now going to pick Pastor Jacob, and
Mhm.
then Pastor Jacob is going to pick Derek the detective. And these three also have a little interaction earlier in the episode where they kind of like point to each other and be like, hey, I trust you.
Yeah, Jacob's hair, it reminds me of someone that we know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Thank.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I know you're not. It's not on the screen, but if you're watching on YouTube, just like let us know in the comments who you think we're talking about. It's just like to me, like
It's so funny because we didn't
I don't
even
want to
we didn't
say
even
it.
discuss
Yeah,
this.
we don't have to
Yeah.
say it. I just feel like the moment
You know
I
when you
see
just
it,
like someone feels like
you just
recognizable?
know. Yeah, Jenny, put his picture up.
Okay.
What is It's just like the
Let me
moment
find
I
him.
saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting because that looks like somebody." And then I saw the more we had him, the more I was like, "No, that looks like somebody."
Yeah.
And now
I
that I'm
also
looking
know
at it,
someone with this name, which is funny.
oh,
He's not a
okay,
pastor.
okay. Um, Jacob is a very interesting spot. Coming in
Yes.
with basically a sign that says I should be trustworthy or I'm not good at the job slash lifestyle I have chosen. It's a tough spot to be in any reality show because people are going
Yeah.
to hold you accountable like you are at church. Like this is a pastor, and they're going to be expecting pastor actions from him. And it seems like he's not actually like in the camp of I'm going to come in and play honorable and all that stuff. Like he looks like he's here to play the game too. I just don't know how they're going to take it.
This is the problem when you are playing a game that is likely to involve at least some sort of deception, and you present yourself as like a religious, God-fearing, type person, because people will really hate if you do anything against them, and they will throw
Mhm.
that back into your face, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
and I think we were kind of in the this season on get a little bit of a preview. I believe there was a God is watching thrown out. So but that's difficult, because it's like, even just people that are, this is not their profession, and it's like they're very open about being like Christian or whatever, and like they're praying in the house or whatever. Then they have shown you that it's like, okay, I have all of these morals and values. It's very, very important to me. And then it's like, then people have this higher expectation of you. And if you do anything against that, it's going to hurt a million times more because of what they expect from you because of your faith. And so that's
Mhm.
like, this is a hard typecast to come in as and he's I don't know how much they're making him wear the
Mhm.
uniform, but he's wearing it like quite a bit in this episode.
I'm telling
You
you.
are not forgetting he's the pastor.
No, they're calling him the priest at different points, and
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. They're gonna be having a high expectation from him. He does stick with his alliance and chooses Big Derek. I'll call him that because he's
Big-
not Jeff, but Big D, uh, Big Derek. And then it comes down to the final three. And if you could just cue up our cowboy slash bull
our
rider
bull
here.
rider,
Yeah.
Cody.
So we will see Cody. And Cody is an interesting character. He comes in, he's like, the only person here that's my type is Amanda. He looks like he could be, like, hey, this could be a dating show. I noticed there's a lot of
Mhm.
blondes here, not a lot of brunettes, but I like Amanda. But
I
he
love that they were
also,
like talking about that in front of a blonde in Kaylee the cop, being like, yeah, I saw a couple of blondes. I'm way more about the brunettes. Like, Kaylee's just sitting there like sipping her drink, like,
right,
go
exactly.
F
Who, I
myself.
mean, she was very busy anyway because she had
Yeah,
other eyes for someone
she
else.
was fantasizing about the boxer that looked like a stripper to her.
Yeah, and so Cody has realized that you have to have someone say your name, and so by doing that, I need to get really close to somebody, and that person was Derek. Derek does not like this. He's like, "Get off of me! Stop! You're just like you're
He was
cramping my
stage 5
style."
clinging. Yeah.
Right? He's like, every time I turn around, this dude is right here, and he
Are
ends
you
up. But
feeling are you
mhm.
feeling triggered by a partnership of Derek and Cody?
Well, I didn't know if I should be more triggered about Derek and Cody or Derek and a cowboy, a beast mode cowboy at that.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
so,
This
um,
show is actually just BB16.
right.
Sorry.
Oh my God. Unfortunately. So, but Derek will do a different thing than what Brett did. Brett had the opportunity to pick somebody who was clearly wanting to work with him and did not.
Mhm.
Derek says, "Nah, I'm picking Cody because he's quote loyal like a dog."
Yes.
So yeah, so Cody gets chosen, and I don't think it's an awful strategy. And look, you don't want to isolate yourself from anybody. You don't want to push anybody away, but you
Mhm.
want to get chosen. You want people to think that I can utilize you. There's a reason why I need to keep you around because you're good for me. And he was able to do that. So I'm very happy that that worked out for him.
I also think, so here's the thing, when you're down to 3 and you're effectively getting the last pick, it unless you are certain that the person that has been begging you to pick them and that you've effectively told that you're going to pick, unless you're certain that that person is going to end up eliminated, you should pick them,
Mhm.
because if they stay and you broke your word to them, like, then they're going to
Exactly.
be even more of a problem to you than just being a little bit annoying and clingy. However, what I think is interesting is, like, if Derek had been given the opportunity and been saved early on, which I don't think was ever going to happen. I think that 8 was always going to stick together. They obviously talked about it.
Mhm.
Um, but if he had been picked earlier, and there were a lot more people on the board, like, and his 2 apparent allies in Amanda and Jacob were all still on the board, I don't think that he picks Cody. But it
Mhm.
seems that he had really been kind of forced to give Cody his word, so that could have been interesting. But yeah, he makes kind of what I think is like the easy and right pick based on the position.
Yeah, and so that leaves us with our final two, and the person that ends up getting saved here, Jenny, our cheerleader, who may or may
McLean.
not be dressed like a cheerleader, McLean. We have a
Yeah.
picture of McLean, I'm
Oh, I'll
sure, but I don't think you
grab
can
you
see the
McLean.
pleated skirt in the
I
photo.
if I scroll down, you can see. But
You think we
was
can?
she wearing this in the episode?
Yeah, that's it. They're all wearing the
Okay.
exact
It
outfits
just
from the
looked like
episode.
athleisure to me. But yeah, I guess she's wearing she's an Indianapolis Colts cheerleader and
Mhm.
she's wearing the little horseshoe
Oh,
necklace.
she's literally wearing a coat, like, yeah,
Yeah. I don't know
okay.
what else is on her necklaces here, but
Let me see
again,
if I can
we're
enlarge
killing it
this.
with the themed jewelry. But that also might just be a necklace she wears anyway, not just like for
Right.
reality
The
TV.
Colts necklace was for
Oh,
the
and the
look.
ring. She's got
Oh,
also got a
oh,
horseshoe ring.
right. Yeah. They
Okay.
said, lady, dress like you're on the Colts. Dress like you're a part of the
Yeah.
team. And she did.
And she's wearing the Colts colors. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Okay. Now, like when you have that all put together, it makes sense. But I just feel like if you're not actively looking for a cheerleader, like this pleated type skirt is kind of like a trend. So I could see this just looking like an athleisure outfit. But
Hmm.
you're right. When you're looking for someone to be dressed like a cheerleader,
She's the one.
it definitely makes sense here. So she is saved, even though she was not doing as well socially as she thought she was going to.
Hmm.
She makes it out here. And
Yeah.
our eliminated person
Yeah.
is hot cop or horny cop Kaylee.
Haley. Yeah. McLean's strategy was interesting though. She tells us like, I just want everybody to like me. Like if everybody could
Yeah.
just like see that like I'm agreeable and they can get along with me, like I think I'll be okay. I think that does help in this situation. But I think moving forward, she needs to be more aggressive with her strategy. Like I think you cannot just rest on that person likes me. You need people,
Yeah.
you need assurances. You need these people are going to choose me. And you need to be giving some people some assurances. You need to be promising people the world, especially if you think they're not going to like if they're going to be long for the game.
Yeah.
Obviously you don't want to make a lot of promises that you can't keep. But here it seemed like nobody had any real alliance with McLean, so it could have been her. But yeah, our girl Kaylee, her cop outfit, Jenny. If you could
Oh
just,
my goodness. And
our
I think
police.
she was wearing this the entire time. I was like,
Yeah, she's essentially wearing a bulletproof vest that says police
yeah, hold on. I gotta
during the entire episode. And on top of that, we see that Catherine, she's one of the people Catherine gave the most assurances to. She says, like, I got you. You don't have to worry. You'll never go anywhere. And so for Catherine, she's eliminating somebody who could be a liability later on because once you promise somebody you're going to keep them, you either keep them or you make sure that they go away. And if she's
Mhm.
decided by now that Kaylee is the most expendable, then it's time for her to go. There's no reason in saving McLean here. In saving Kaylee here if you're not going to use her in the future. And knowing that she's probably going to be more closely aligned with Brett just because of his stripper bod, as she will call it. I think this probably is the right choice.
Yeah, here's the thing. McLean, I think, is actually naturally giving the energy that Catherine is trying to portray,
Yes.
but is doing it without any power or really like making any moves, even like
Uh-huh.
quietly. And that might just be because she kind of felt like she was in a bad position and kind of just needed to like lay low and not make any,
Jenny,
big
she asked them if they wanted to do burpees. I was like, girl, no. Nobody wants to burpees for
no.
fun.
Yeah,
Please,
we're here to
McLean.
chill in this like, villa or whatever. Yeah, but it felt like that's kind of her energy. Like that
Mm.
so to me when we get Catherine saying like I'm going to have to eliminate like the person that I think is like more of a threat or something. I can't even remember if that was in a confessional or if that was out loud. But like to me, I was like, I think a bigger threat to you is probably someone like McLean because she can naturally play the strategy that you're trying to play. And I think Kaylee's like a little bit of a wild card. And maybe that you don't want a wild card, but like I think that you by this point you've probably picked up on the fact that she's not really making a lot of social bonds. So that's maybe a good person to have. Because it's like she doesn't have anyone, and if I held my promise to her, then I might be like the most trustworthy person to her. And but again, kind of just to the same argument we were talking about with Brett, where it's like, how valuable is this person if no one else like
Is
fucks with
gonna
them?
choose her.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
Kaylee's ever before me, then she'll pick me. But she'll never be before me because no one's gonna pick her. So yeah, I think it's a tight spot. Whereas like McClain,
I just
it's
think
like,
you want some cuckoo people in there though. Like I think that you need that like I think that that's why McLean would have. I could see a situation where McLean is like a good first boot if you're trying to keep some other chaos around to distract from any of your own chaos. But
yeah,
I also, Catherine is very confident that she's like killing it. So maybe she's not
yes.
looking at it that way.
Well, McLean is saved, and Kaylee is our first boot here, and we will be doing exit press with Kaylee. But
Yeah, we're gonna talk to
I
Kaylee
feel
tomorrow.
I feel like we were robbed. I love like we come here for the characters, and we love a character, and Kaylee was that. She's like I know they were calling her the horny cop. But like seriously, the way she was talking to Brett and about Brett, she's like, "Oh yeah, he's got daddy energy." Like Kaylee is not. She's going to be herself. I like that. I think we could have got way more content from Kaylee. We were robbed of some good TV, some good sound bites, because she didn't care who was watching. She was going to say what she wanted to say.
You know, she was fully just telling the whole dinner party about like how hot he was. Like she was like she hadn't even spoken to this guy yet and was already just like, I'm a messy girl here. I'm gonna just like lay it out here. I will say one disappointment for me with Kaylee is that like, okay, she's eliminated and Jim Jeffries is basically like, get the hell out of here. And she's like, can I not say anything?
And I
And
was
we're
like,
like,
yes,
oh,
air it out, air it
she's
out.
gonna call out Catherine for making promises. And she
Right.
kind of just like gave us this blanket statement of like, some of you up there might not be able to trust each other. Like just such an obvious, like vague thing that
Yeah.
anyone would say there.
It's like she's like, can I say something? I was like, yes, say it. And then it's like she wanted to say Catherine lied. She said she had my back. You can't trust her. But it's like maybe like the rules of the game won't allow me to say so much, and I don't want to cross the line. Maybe it's like because you don't want to get in trouble. But then also maybe it's like she wanted to say it, but then at the same time she didn't know how it was going to come off. Like it looked like she was like trigger shy. Like she was right there. And instead,
well, you know what? I would appreciate. I don't listen. She's wearing the police uniform. I don't know if she had an actual gun on her, but maybe being trigger shy isn't the worst situation here.
Yeah,
I don't know if she's armed.
But air it out. Literally, like this is your last chance. Yeah, this is your last chance. I just really feel like
what do you have to lose?
Right, this is your chance to affect the game. And and again, it would have come at the detriment of our girl Catherine, but
which is
right, which is bad.
I was just hoping for something a little bit more like, even if it wasn't just straight up like I'm throwing Catherine under the bus here. I just wanted something that could have maybe incited a little bit more conversation. Maybe like, I don't know. It just ended up being, I was like, oh, she's about to pop off. And then it was like kind of a little bit of like a nothing burger. But yeah, it's one of those moments where maybe she just had this, she looked up at them and was like, you know what? Game, respect, game. Maybe she's had that moment of being like, my game is over, but this lady in red, I don't think she was wearing red at this point, but she's a bad bitch, and maybe I just have to respect it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're gonna find out because we are gonna talk to Kaylee, our first eliminated contestant from the Snake.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. And I'm looking forward to see what comes next in this show, because now the game resets. We get a new snake, head of the snake, I guess, next week.
Do we assume that Catherine is not eligible? Because I felt like Jim kept on being like a new snake. Like is it kind of like the head of household can't compete sort of situation?
I don't think so. I think she can compete. I think she can. But then again, half of the house wasn't even able to compete in this competition. So who knows?
That's true.
But yeah, I'm very excited to see what comes next. Jenny, do you have a winner pick before we wrap up?
Yeah. Okay. I know. I it's so funny because I was like, we're probably gonna do a winner pick. Yeah, I should just okay. I'm gonna go with Amanda.
Okay, we're aligned. We both see like the
Oh,
Amanda, like we see the arc, you know, like she's
yeah.
kind of socially good right now. Nobody's talking about her in a negative way. She's a lawyer, so maybe she's gonna be able to talk her way into
Yeah.
like some good alliances and stuff. So yeah, me and you are rooting. We're rooting for we're rooting for chaos. But
Oh
I
yeah.
wouldn't be mad if Amanda
Always.
wins.
Yeah, I just that's my feeling right now. There's a couple other names out there that I think I could make it far. But I'll put my chips. Sorry, Devonte. In
Uh-huh.
on Amanda here. As our after one episode winner pick. But in the little teaser for the season, it looks like it's going to be good. Like I think it's going to be messy. I think it's going to be dramatic. I will say, it's intense. It's corny at times, but I really was pleasantly surprised by this, and it looks like it's going to be entertaining. So, looking forward to seeing what we have in store because we're going to be here all season, Chappell, covering. I think we got 10 episodes of the snake coming our way. I believe
Yes,
that's what.
yes.
So stay tuned for that because we're gonna have recaps every week, and we're gonna have exit interviews with our eliminated contestants, starting with Kaylee this week. And make sure you're subscribed.
Yeah.
We know
We
reality
know
TV.
realitytv.com. Yeah, let's go
Yeah,
do it. And then
we're
follow
on
me and
YouTube.
Jenny. Yeah, we're on YouTube. It's gonna
Exactly.
be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Chappelle, what
Yeah.
else do you have going on besides this new snake venture for us?
Oh
You're
yeah.
busy,
So
man.
I'm still on Nothing But Netflix, still doing my thing over there, nothingbutpod.com to subscribe to the Nothing But Netflix podcast. We're also on YouTube here on the RHAP YouTube page. This week coming up, Akiva and I are going to talk about Shaquille O'Neal's new show on Netflix. It's an easy watch, and so Akiva's going to come on as my special guest. So check that out. We've recently been covering reality shows over there. We talked about some TV shows. I had Jess Sterling and AJ Mass on last week to talk about Sirens. So we're having a lot of fun on the Nothing But Netflix podcast. And you can follow that social media at Nothing But RHAP on all social media platforms. Then you can catch me on my podcast, Recap Kickback, where I'm talking about whatever I want to talk about, including a first watch for Chantel Francis. She said, I'm Canadian. We didn't have VH1, so I've never seen The Flavor of Love. And so Chantel and I are covering every episode of The Flavor of Love live on YouTube. And we're looking for guests, Jenny. I don't know. You're Canadian, but you've seen The Flavor of Love, right?
Yeah, yeah. I get sell me in. I need a little bit of time. June's a
Uh-huh.
little crazy, but we got a lot. You're just getting started. So yeah,
Yeah.
I need to get in on some of that because New York. She's
Yes.
gonna be back on our screens again soon. You and I
Yes.
got together recently with Mike Bloom on the Reality Flash to discuss
Mm-hmm.
the breaking news of the cast of House of Villains season 3
Mm-hmm.
coming to us, I guess early 2026, and I'm very excited for that. I'm glad that we have this to keep us going in the meantime. But
Yes.
wow, what a banger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your deep dive into the New York lore from the beginning.
That's what we're doing. So check that out on
Yeah.
recapkickback.com or our YouTube page, youtube.com/@recapkickback. Subscribe, please. We're building a following over there, and we're doing it live. Like I said, live every week. Me and Chantel, you can catch me and Mario talking about various movies and TV shows over there too. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Recap Kickback. What about you, Jenny? What you got going on?
This is it. We're personal life's a
Yes.
little busy, and I'm hopping on. I'm really excited about the snake. I'm always excited to podcast with you, but I was really happy with this first episode. I feel like we might have something really special here. So thanks for joining us for this first episode. Make sure you're subscribed. Give us a like on the YouTubes.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be back with our exit interview with Kaylee. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be back next week with our recap of episode 2. And that's it. We'll see you later.
Peace.
Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.